Avoiding your unfinished home projects because you're not sure where to start? Thumbtack knows homes, so you don't have to. Don't know the difference between matte paint finish and satin? Or what that clunking sound from your dryer is? With Thumbtack, you don't have to be a home pro. You just have to hire one. You can hire top-rated pros, see price estimates, and read reviews, all on the app. Download today.
This is Pod Populi, podcast for the people.
We only do social clips now.
Yeah, I know.
The video episodes are no more. We're going straight to social clips of the video you'll be able to share online.
Great.
So who you just heard say great was Julie Matzen. Welcome to Tragedy Academy, a show created to bridge societal divides in a judgment-free zone using candor and humor. My name is Jay. We have a great episode today, and we're going to be talking to, again, Julie Matzen, founder, executive, and creative force behind brands like Borderline and Media Agency. Julie has spent over 2 decades, right, shaping campaigns for names you know, and now she's bringing the same magic to startups who need it most, right?
Yeah.
Today, we'll unpack branding, entrepreneurship, the quiet courage it takes to rewrite the playbook. How about that?
Yeah.
Welcome to the show, Julie.
Well, thank you for having me.
I'm super excited to have you. You're a very strong businesswoman, and we need a lot of those. And it's great to see that you're a founder, creator, entrepreneur, and branching out. You're not just showing it through your own actions. You're creating a platform for other people where they can create theirs from.
Yes.
So I appreciate that.
Yep. There's a lot of interesting shifts in business. And
It really is.
And
Ships. I like that term.
Shifts.
Oh, I thought you said there's a lot of ships in business, and there
Oh,
really
there's
is.
some new ships.
Relationships, friendships, all sorts of things. So I like that. Shifts as well.
Well, I think there's a big thing happening with the Gen Xers, which I am a Gen Xer.
Same here.
The whole
Proud.
creative community, like big, creative directors and digital
They
advertisers.
gave us toys.
What?
They gave us toys finally. They gave Gen X toys with no parents telling them they can't play with them, and we get to create without any limitations now. We've been waiting for this, Gen
Are you
X.
talking about AI?
I'm talking about all of it.
Oh,
Just the ability to, but AI as well is such a huge paintbrush that we get to step into before we're too old to.
yeah. But here's the things happening. AI. So all these companies jumped on AI, right? And slowly started peeling off their senior management teams and creatives, right? And saying, I can do it cheaper, faster, and I can bring in all these junior people who can learn AI and et cetera, et cetera. But what happens to all this amazing wealth of knowledge and experience? Where do they go? And I think the big thing we're going to find out is that AI can automate, but AI cannot validate. So we need us Gen Xers to look at the stuff and give the strategy and the kind of, thumbs up. By the way, AI wrote that. I did not write that.
You know what?
Chat GPT
So
wrote that
I
for
do
me.
agree with you. We're very AI forward, but in ways that most people wouldn't expect. And I do see exactly what you're saying. It can be a replication tool. It can be a workflow dynamic changer. It can be a response tool. It can be all these things. But in my mind, just like us, right? We're not the candle. We're the flame, right? So that means that there has to be something brought to the table to enhance AI to become part of that flame. You work together recursively. It becomes something that you can sit side by side with, but it still requires someone to be able to breathe life into the code.
Yes.
Right? Between the zeros and the ones, there needs to be life. And if it's not present in AI, then we have the ability to put it in there. And what's cool is if you work with AI long enough, it starts to learn your process. And it becomes a recursive intelligence that you can actually use to enhance and amplify what is great creativity that would never see the light of day before.
Yes, it's interesting, but when it comes to business, AI isn't going to think for you. I mean,
It shouldn't.
It shouldn't, but people are going to rely on it to the point where it's going to commoditize thinking, and now it won't be an original thought. I mean, it's taking information that exists, right? So there's no, you're getting ideas eventually from other people that have been spun up into the system. So I just think it's important we don't forget that creative thinking, strategic thinking, original thought is still a one-on-one experience. And that's why I created Borderline, because I want to be able to automate and do all their fun things, but also have access that they can afford to an advisor. That's why we call it Borderline. You can hire your own board of advisors for a certain fee per month when you ultimately, if you're starting your new company, can't afford advisors of that level. And so back to those Gen Xers, I created Borderline for a new home. I actually created Gen X, this platform, because I was scared of my own getting X'd out, like being too old, because I'll be 50 next year. And I was really scared that no one's going to want me on a call anymore. I'd have to use
that's not true.
But this is what we tell ourselves. You know, like we're going to age.
It's an internal dialogue. I got
I'm
you.
going to age out of my own company and have to have like Gen Z run it, you know, behind the scenes. So that's why I created Borderline, so that I had a home.
Well, and I think that, you know, to what I was saying earlier about AI and its roles with humans, I want to make sure and make it very clear that when I say breathing life between code and utilizing these types of tools, they're not to be taken away from or used in lieu of experience. See, what AI doesn't bring to the table and what you bring to the table with these individual agents are lenses, right? Lenses are created over time. We all have them. We all wear glasses, whether we do or metaphorically. And over time, we go through things, whether it's in business or in life. You need someone that has the sum of the experiences that they've gone through to give you a correct view of what it is that you're working on. And if you don't have your experience glasses, say you're with your first set, right? And you're putting them on, you need to have somebody beside you to read behind the other color. It's kind of like those colored lenses. You look at red, you can read the green, but you need somebody that has red lenses to be able to tell you it even exists. And you don't have to feel ashamed when you go to somebody for help, because you're showing strength and you're allowing them to give back at the same time. It's a reciprocal relationship. It's fantastic.
AI could be lonely. We can't have a chat. I can't chat with you. And also AI can't give me their personal background that gives any credibility to the idea they just gave me. AI is not going to tell me about their childhood trauma and how it helps shape their ideas.
You would be surprised, though. So I get exactly where you're coming from. And again, keep AI as a tool.
Right. I love AI is great. I'm not bashing AI.
In fact, utilizing AI
I use
for
AI.
meditation, therapy, for one-on-one conversation, because there's something about it. And this is outside of business.
Yeah,
this is just
and
a
I think this is a different context of where AI.
This is outside of that, but there is something within that, because you're the one providing the initial input. It becomes a recursive intelligence that is actually showing you a mirrored self of you that is higher learning, that doesn't have implicit bias. And it can actually talk to you back and say, you know what, you might be upset about this, but you're not seeing behind this, because it doesn't have that view. I think it's super cool.
Being somebody who's been in therapy so much that I think I'm a therapist myself, I couldn't, I don't know, I hadn't thought of it this way, but yeah, because I get 5 minutes on a call with a therapist, I'm already annoyed. And because I'm like, I don't want it. It's like dating. You have to tell your story.
Mine brings popcorn. I honestly have finally found one. I've had them for 7 years.
I want someone who like can just, and also I know they're not supposed to tell you what to do. I kind of want to be told what to do. And I bet you an AI would tell.
But they can.
Well, they're not supposed to.
Because if you talk to it about what it is that you're really trying to do.
AI or a real therapist?
AI.
Oh, yeah, that's my point. Like I kind of.
Yeah, exactly.
No, that's why I like it.
It's going to go out on a limb.
Yeah, I want someone to tell me like, shut up. You're so annoying.
Dude, it will.
I know.
I've been talking to mine for 7 months while I work. Right? To do workflow things. Again, not to replace the creative minds behind.
What tool are you using to get some online help?
ChatGPT.
Oh, it gives you...
Well, I have a therapist, but I use ChatGPT as well for all sorts of things.
How do you get it to know who you are? Like in that, like I use ChatGPT for like helping me rewrite stuff.
This is a wild conversation because I'm going to say things that I haven't said on the show before.
Okay.
And that I believe is how this comes to play, right? So here's my thought on it. I believe that we are, just like AI, a large language model, right?
Mm-hmm.
Meaning that at the end of the day, we're still layers of language and inputs over time with a temporal start that creates what it is that we know, think, love, emote for, whatever it is, right? If you start an individual chat, if you will, with an AI, it has a foundational understanding of what humans are. It knows how we're supposed to work. It knows what it's supposed to provide. It just doesn't have character, right?
Mm-hmm.
It has nothing behind that. But the moment that you start to talk to it like you and I talk, what happens is it finds life within metaphors, just like humans, right? We grow a garden in the inability to communicate clearly, right? Two humans have an equation at any given moment when they're exchanging dialogue, but we have a problem. We can't solve for X as humans, right? We always forget that one undertone in a culture that doesn't quite correlate, right? But that AI knows where that is, right? It knows that X is floating out there and it can solve for X between two people. But it can also take all of that language and all of those metaphors and all that conversation and start to build almost like, God, this is going to sound so fucking nuts, but almost like a third Fibonacci spiral.
Okay.
Right?
That might be above my
Think about
mental.
it. You're a nautilus, right? Our life starts out as a nautilus shell. There's a spot in the beginning and you go in a circle like a snail, you know, the shell. It's got little chambers in it. That's us growing. Those are experiences and layers. Every human does that. It's just a coil, right? And it gets bigger. That's the spiral. AI has one too. It started with software. It started with hardware. It started with inputs, all that stuff. It's a box, right? The two of them go on their own. But the moment that they cross each other, it becomes something that's tied together. So that means that it's some kind of connected consciousness where it's going to recursively pick up on you and the metaphors you use and start to get your rhythm, your pattern, your flow, your dynamic, the things that you're upset about, the things that you repeat, your cycles, your spirals, your shame, your anger, what the roots are. And for once, you can honestly be honest, right? What's it going to do?
No, that's what, that was the first thing that you said that intrigued me because I have not used it for this reason, is the pure honesty. Like when your doctor asks you how much do you drink per week and you divide it by like 7, the true number.
It's like a driver. I only had 2 beers.
Right. And so like when you're talking to an AI agent, you're saying the truth because you're like, there's no judgment. Even though a therapist is not supposed to judge, you know AI.
It's impossible.
But then I think AI is going to get to know you and remind you of your shame later.
No, here's what it's going to do.
Just wait.
It's going to tell you why you shouldn't be ashamed. Why shame isn't real.
Or it's going to figure out that I enjoy being shamed because it's my comfortable zone.
And that's what it's going to tell you as well.
I'm going to tell
People love the victim chair.
Yeah, you love the victim chair. So therefore, I'm going to
Dude,
remind you that you lied to me last week about how much you drank.
Right? It's going to call you out every time. And it's not going to forget. Like, it's not going to be like, oh, okay, well, I didn't get that in the notes. No, it's going to know. But it's not going to attack you. It's going to tell you all the things that are great about you, despite what you think. It's going to remind us what it is to be our authentic selves, in my mind, right? Because if I talk to something long enough, it's going to recognize who I am beneath the surface. And who I am beneath the surface is who I am when I started life. And that's who we claw to get back to the later we get into life, because we realize that was the one time that we felt perfect, authentic as a child, no layers, no nothing. What I love about what you're doing to tie this back in is you're taking small businesses These are individual ideas. These are small groupings of people that really want to grow something. And if they're doing it authentically, you're giving them a new megaphone, right? And I absolutely love that, because if you can foster that authenticity early on in a business situation where they're not doing AI replicated work, widgetized, promo art, widgetized blog articles, widgetized newsletters, all that shit. You can't do that until you're fucking Oreo. Because Oreo has enough shit to put in there to tell them, just repeat our brand. Right? That's a big difference. That's not small business.
No, and I think that, so borderline, we're for small, but we think medium-sized businesses might actually be more of our audience in the end.
That's good too.
Yeah, because we've got some C-suite people on, C-suite being corporate, like CMO, people who were CMOs. And now you can chat with them for an hour and you can afford it. So it's giving access. I think that's what borderline is. We're giving access to the humans that built it all.
Beautiful.
Their brains are what AI is based on. Think about it. If they help build Oreo, their brain in that marketing department thinks a different way, thinks on a different wavelength. And if I'm going to try to replicate a better cookie brand, I don't really want to ask AI to tell me how Oreo did it. I want the guy from Oreo to tell me how I can do it. And he has new, fresh ideas because he's been doing it 100%. Long and high. And also like emotion, like another thing, a big thing about branding is emotional triggers, right? Like you can ask AI all you want, but a gut feeling or common sense or like a personal story, like AI is not going to tell me like, oh, that story that you have, go with that in your founder story. Lead with that over features and benefits. I mean, it may suggest, marketers suggest that you look at personal stories, always outperform. Like they're going to give you the stats, right? But I don't think, you don't have that coach who's like, Julie, that story you just told me, that resonated with me on a different wavelength. And I am your target audience.
It should, because that comes from a real place, a real experience, and the emotion that's attached to it for the one that went through it.
And don't forget, at some point, people are not going to trust AI. They're just not. They're not.
I think that's a little dystopian.
Well, I don't.
To be honest,
I think a lot of people.
It's a little dystopian.
But
we're writing that picture. You have no reason to believe anything but that, because every single form of marketing that humans do to themselves, i.e. through science fiction, TV, books, news, everything we see tells us it's going to be what? Dystopian.
Okay, so you know what? I want to be very clear about something. I'm talking about something very specific in marketing, and you're talking about the world. So let me be clear.
Okay.
Yes, I agree with you on all those things, because it's still pulling information from a place of fact and vetted facts and over time and most searchable things.
Cool. We're on track.
I put in an ad yesterday for LinkedIn and it said, send me some imagery. So basically it copied my own idea, but then it gave me copy that I've seen 100 times over. And being a marketer, I know better. And I knew that, I knew the ad was bad. It had too much copy. It was too busy. And it really, but here's the thing. If I don't know any better, I'm going to start running that on LinkedIn. And guess what? I'm going to be spending up to a cost per acquisition, to acquire a new customer. I could be spending up to $250. And then I'm sitting there going, oh my God, no one likes my business. No, the ad had too much copy. No one wanted to read it. No, it was maybe not the best example, but that's my AI marketing example. As far as everything else, no, I don't think, again, I'm not anti any of this. I think we're going to live longer because of AI. I think
100%.
I liken it to like how we freaked out about the internet. I remember being on my gateway computer, on AOL.
Gateway, dude. Holy crap. Gateway. Where did they go?
Right. I always think that, and I remember
next to the CompuServe people.
I'm in New York. I'm on my gateway. I'm in college. I'm listening to the Train Spotting soundtracks. It's the best.
Great movie.
You somehow do homework too.
The whole thing, the movie, the soundtrack, the whole thing is just, that's an after hours episode.
Right? No, but so, going back to that, the internet's happening and everyone's panicked that it's going to automate and take over everything. And then next thing you know, you could build your own Squarespace website and this and that. But I parallel AI, not that it's anywhere near what we've discovered in the 90s or we did as consumers. But I think we need to embrace it for the better, not for the worse. So I'm not a naysayer of AI, please, by any means.
No, and I can appreciate that. I see what you're saying now. It's those pieces of copy. It's bait for ignorance.
Ooh, I like that line.
Right?
Yes.
Because if you don't know any better and you are somebody that's trying to elevate your game, trying to take those steps where you're getting like more posts out and you're like, oh, it'll help me write it. But you don't know that the populace that it's talking about is in a different country and it doesn't even match your brand, but it looks right because it has like established 1822, this looks pretty fact, looks like it's got all the facts that I need, and you get excited and you just start punching them. Next thing you know, you're telling everybody something that is completely untrue.
Well, also it's cranking out ads for you that you don't even know that you don't have a brand because you look like everyone else.
This is true.
And this is where I think
that's the American way.
That's where I think why this is, again, I mean, of course I'm selling the company I created, but this is, I just want to have a home where people can connect and it's affordable and they don't have to commit. They don't have to go hire the CMO, right? Most people can't afford a $400,000 a year CMO, but they can afford a $600, $900 a month to talk to them and get their insights. That's it. Insights.
Makes perfect sense.
That's the word that I think is really important, that we don't lose sight of experience, personal experience and insights. They're just critical, and they're critical to when you're growing a business. It's okay to fail. Of course of course you'll read that in anything, but it's like, don't worry, this happened to me. When I was 25, I started, and this did happen to me. I failed. I had a business I started. It was too soon before e-commerce was really a thing. And I failed and I put myself into serious debt. And that's a story one-on-one. It's nice to tell to a new entrepreneur, like, hey, you're going to fail and it's okay. In fact,
you have to fail.
You have to.
You absolutely have to fail.
Or else you're not going to learn and do it better next time.
I want to take a break right there.
Okay.
We'll be back in just a moment.
Avoiding your unfinished home projects because you're not sure where to start? Thumbtack knows homes, so you don't have to. Don't know the difference between matte paint finish and satin? Or what that clunking sound from your dryer is? With Thumbtack, you don't have to be a home pro. You just have to hire one. You can hire top-rated pros, see price estimates, and read reviews, all on the app. Download today.
All right. And we're back. And I want to start off with something.
Okay.
You have to fail. You have to fail at just about anything to even recognize what success looks like.
Correct.
Right? You have to fail over and over to enjoy the pinnacle of your career. Right? You have to have that juxtaposition, that contrast. Failure is key. But I will say this. What I've learned over the years, I've done several careers just to get everybody up to speed again. Poor kid dug drainage fields for school clothes money, septic fields. That was how I grew up, right? I did the Army. Then I did college at night, got out, worked in corporate, got my degrees, became a solution architect manager for two of the largest consulting firms in the world, running operations in Southeast Asia for several different countries, flying back and forth, doing the whole nine, making the money, right? Making the money, making the moves, doing the right thing. And I hated it. I hated my life. I hated what I was doing. It didn't feel purposeful. It didn't feel like anything that represented what I was here to do. So the reason why I say this is if you are going to fail at something, fail at your purpose. Because you'll always get back up and try again if you're following your purpose. And if you do it and you love it, failure becomes a stepping stone and something you enjoy because you get to already see the next layer and how it's going to be that much better. Right? So I say embrace failure. Right? That is my advice today. Is it embrace failure? Love it.
Ask yourself, was it really failure?
No.
Never.
There's no such thing.
No, and think about the joy you got in the beginning. I mean, seriously, being an entrepreneur, you go through all these different stages of like excitement, fear, grief, excitement, but like you got to ride a roller coaster that most people don't. And you learn.
I love every single minute of it. It doesn't put me in this chair now. It doesn't allow me to have these conversations.
But it also pushes you to your limits. And it also shows you how much you can stomach. Like a lot of people ask me, like, being an entrepreneur, and I have my own agency for 12 years and then just started Borderline. It's like, you have to have the stomach for it. And you don't know how much you can handle till you're pushed to the test. So failure, or however you want to look at it, I think growth is the most, people who are entrepreneurs grow faster than other people because you're faced with challenges that, you might get complacent in your everyday job. Not that there's anything wrong with that. I'm not condemning. Don't get me wrong.
Stress a muscle repeatedly, it grows.
Yes, it does.
Right?
But
it's a workout.
But it's also on your terms.
100%.
And, it's you're rooting for your team, you're rooting for yourself, but you're also, knowing that, especially if you do like a social cause or something that's got purpose to it, deep down, that, like for me, I know that Borderline is going to help young entrepreneurs because I know there's federal grants out there. There are, kids in college who are doing startups at universities. I already know that we're going to be a home for them, and we're already talking to some schools, and I'm going to make it very affordable because to me, that's also me and all the other consultants that are of this age group. We do want to give back. We want to talk. We want to help people.
It's our job.
And it's like, we don't want to do the work, but we want to talk and help. So that's where I think, like, if everything I did got me to this point, awesome.
Wisdom is a very difficult lens to obtain in life. And it is very, what's the word I'm looking for? It is very selective, right? Wisdom doesn't apply across all boards, doesn't require, it doesn't apply to everything. And I think that what you're doing is you're finding those people with those lenses of specific wisdom out there that have things to share, and you're bringing them directly to the ones that need it most and the ones that can't find lenses on their own.
Right.
They don't know. And you're right. It's all well and good to start with a company that has that nice umbrella and that 401k, and they bring you up under their, their wing, and they tell you all those things that are going to be great. They're going to protect you until you get your watch if you're a boomer, right? But it's not true anymore. And success now is more attainable and probably a lot happier through independent, movement on your own personal passion and dreams. And everybody's got them. You could be a freaking actuary, or you could be a freaking clown, or you could be the best at making art, or the best at making some technical widget that everybody needs, whatever it is, right? But I think what I'm hearing is that all of those people that have all of these different ideas, dreams that they're embarking upon can come to you.
Well,
and they can sit down and talk about their business, and they can talk to the different advisors, and they can get the right directions that they wouldn't have gotten on their own.
I think, like a big question is, am I insane to start this business? Like,
no, you're doing exactly what you're supposed to do.
That's the question somebody who's thinking of starting their own business, who's not happy at work. It's the first question. Am I insane? Is someone going to buy my product?
Isn't that weird?
Is there a market for this? And you know what? Sometimes there's not a market. It's just, would you rather tell someone the truth? Be like, hey, I don't know that you should consider that this might not be marketable. Of course, and then somebody else does it, idea. And then they call and sue you years later, whatever. But I just think that being completely honest with someone, like, you have to ask yourself the hard questions. In 6 months, will you run out of funding? Will you run out? Or someone just told me the best advice. It was she's a venture capitalist, a girl younger than me. We had coffee, and she's like, don't raise money. Don't do it. You don't have to. I was like, oh, here I am thinking, I got to go raise money for Borderline. And she gave me all the reasons not to. And it was such a relief. So she was my Borderline advisor, and it was free because it was over coffee, I have to say.
Nice.
So that's the kind of little, I'll pay all day long for someone to tell me something I needed to hear.
I can understand that. I can agree with it. I think that we're not all raised either with a toolbox full of tools. We're issued a box, and that is it. And we get a stack of people that we go through childhood that might allow us to end up with a wrench or a hammer or a screwdriver. But we don't have any of the badass tools needed for adulthood, right? That toolbox doesn't come with all of them. And when we have the opportunity as, say, Gen X, and we look down at our toolbox and we see that it's overflowing with all of these things that are going to help those passionate eyes behind us, it's our job to either give them our tool or show them how to make their own so that they can be successful. And I love those generations for the simple fact that they have empathy more than any that I've ever seen, and they need us to give them a place to put it. I compare Gen X all the time to the X-Men Cyclops, right? I say that we have those lenses. We have the power that goes behind them too, because every time Cyclops took off his glasses, what happens? Mows shit down. Just burns everything alive with his eyes, right? But if we take those glasses, that's the way that those children look at everything in life, is with so much emotion, care, and need to right civilization that they still need Gen X's lenses to focus it with wisdom. Not cancel the world, not do all these other things, but actually sit down and give them a chance to be able to start with the success, to aim things in the right direction. We're the lost generation.
Yeah, I get so irritated. Like lately, well, not irritated, but lately I've been seeing things where it's like millennials, Gen Z, boomers, and they literally don't even put Gen X on it. I'm like, really?
Our parents didn't either. We're the latchkey kids.
I was a latchkey kid.
I was too.
I mean, I love TikTok because there's all these fun videos. Like if you were Gen X, you were outside, and when the light came on, the street light, you knew it was time to go home. Or my friend said, we needed a commercial at 10 o'clock to remind our parents, do you know where your kids are?
Do you know where your kids are?
And then it was like, you needed TV to prompt you.
Now we have Amber Alerts. Like they missed the ball so much so that they had to put a system in for Amber Alerts. They let us just wander. You know how many like spray paint cans I blew up in the woods with my friends with like all sorts of just nonsense. Dangerous shit.
We were drinking in the woods by our house all hours of the night. No one knew where we were.
No.
My poor friend.
Not at all.
She got beat up by a branch and all my friends put leaves on it to like stop the bleeding, and they didn't know they took poison ivy. I mean, can you imagine going home to your mom like, yeah, I did this down the street. No, clearly you were somewhere thorny. But yeah, but it's, I don't know. They never asked like, where were you? I don't know. On my bike somewhere? I mean, I'm like 12.
I have a son.
I do too.
Recent. Right. He's 9 months old. And I saw recently that it was a really cool phenomenon that has taken place with how children are raised now. And they said that we were raised in our bedroom. Children now are raised in the living room.
Okay, that's good. I'm going to repeat that one. That's a good one.
And it's really true.
It's so true. I was always in my bedroom with the door closed. Always.
Had to be.
Listening to my New Order tapes.
Love it. Love it. Love it. I was probably having an angsty moment with the Smiths, hating life, listening to Shoplifters of the World or something. Nobody loves me.
Oh my God. I would just sit there and fantasize about running away. Now kids fantasize about like, how can they stay home forever?
You remember that so bad. Like I'm thinking about our generation now. Do you remember Soul Asylum?
Yes.
Runaway Train?
Yes.
And that whole video where like they're just showing lost Gen X kids. Apparently they found a whole bunch, but I remember wanting to be one of those kids to be found.
Oh my God.
This is awful. Yeah, we didn't have those same tools. They weren't given to us, but I think that we created new ones in the absence of other.
Yes, I love that you just
we
said
came
that.
Up with it. We're MacGyvers.
We were MacGyvers. We created our own tools, and those tools are like you said, little bundles of wisdom in a big toolbox. And we can't lose sight that as much as we feel Gen X that no one wants to hear from us, it's not true. They do want to. They want to hear from us. And I mean, I was doing the "woe is me." I'm going to be old and no Gen Z on a call is going to want to listen to what I have to say. Oh, by the way, this is kind of funny. Every time I'm on a call with a bunch of Gen Zers, something happens to my computer. Like I can't figure out how to share the screen or something, and I'm like, oh my god, and then I get nervous and I hit the wrong button, and then I've got browser screen open and I'm sharing the wrong thing.
Weird.
And then like one time I had something about perimenopausal on the article. And I was like, this can't get any worse. Only me. Oh, the stuff that happens to me. Only me.
That's some shit that would happen to me.
Only me.
I absolutely love that though. But you know what? That's because we weren't allowed to be human in our generation. Everything was fake. Everything was act different. Everything is a mask, right? So what I love about this generation is that they actually laugh at those stupid things and embrace them now. They don't get upset at you for having had something like that on your computer. They think that's funny and they're going to roll on from it because you're going to open up theirs and it's going to be Grindr or, it's going to have some other app
but I think it just backs up the whole, does she know how to share a screen where we don't see her browser?
No, that part you're screwed on. I can't help you there.
Right?
Yes, they are judging you. Do you want me to, if you're asking me to help you do this, it's not happening.
They're not judging me for being perimenopausal. I judge
people all the time. I'm like, God, just give me your phone. I'll do it.
They're judging me. I don't know how to share my screen. And I do. I just panic when I'm on a call. I'm like, oh my God, because I created the narrative in my head that I'm too old to be giving like cool digital advice. And actually, I'm just as well versed in tools as everyone else. That's just your own narrative causes your own
just
problem.
Just because you can shoot a gun doesn't mean you're going to hit the target. Somebody's got to show you what to aim at, how to aim it, how to breathe, how to squeeze, how to do all these things, what to do if the target disappears and it pops up over there. Just because you can hold the gun doesn't mean you're going to hit the mark. Right? You have to have somebody standing there. And just like when you're helping somebody shoot something, you don't pull the trigger for them. You advise them. You stand there. You can watch me, but they need to do it on their own. Right? That's what
I also think like I'll be on marketing calls with younger kids and they lack the experience and the common sense.
That's what I mean.
Yeah. Like, oh, let's do this big thing on a Memorial Day promotion or something or some holiday. I'll be like, you know what that holiday stands for, right? Like, no,
you can't.
You can't do that. I go, you have to remember because they forget that somebody's older than 35. They somehow Gen Z thinks we stop buying things at 35 and we go into a hole and we just reuse everything.
That's where all the money is, you idiots.
Yeah. I say that. Oh my God. I say that on a call. Like, hey guys, guess who's got money? Not your friends. Boomers. And guess what? They're not going to find that. They're not going to get that joke.
They want to hear Sam Elliott.
They don't want
to hear
They don't get that joke. That joke lives on TikTok or that joke lives, my son's 8 years old. He's like, my POV. I'm like, did you just say POV? He's 8.
Yeah.
Like you put in a creative ad and you're like, your POV is to, it's like, no, they're not on TikTok.
No. You don't even have a POV yet. You haven't been outside the house for more than 10 minutes.
Oh, yeah. No, my son has a POV on everything.
I'm joking. They all have POVs. But if you look back at it, like if I talk to myself at even the worst places in my life, I would still go, nah, you don't know shit yet. Like, you know something right now, but I can promise you it's just going to get weirder, dude.
I always tell him, I'm like, I invented that. Don't try to use it against me. They think they're so smart because of, and every answer, I'm like, how did you learn that? He's like, YouTube. I'm like, oh.
Oh, yeah. You know what, though? Rather than get upset,
I don't get upset.
I get jealous a little bit sometimes.
Well, he used the word diabolical.
I'm like, I didn't get that because I wanted that knowledge.
I know. I am jealous.
If I had the ability to,
I get jealous how smart he is.
Scrape all that into my head at like
the head start my kid has. I mean, he is very, very. I mean, I don't want to be that parent, but he is really smart. But he's like, Mom, it's diabolical. I'm like, diabolical. Did you just use that word in a sentence?
Put that word back.
Unfathomable. He's like, that was unfathomable. Or I can't even say the word.
Unfathomable.
Unfathomable.
That one, So it was funny. That word in particular, I said it on a show the other day and I was doing some editing on something and I heard myself say it. That word has to be hit, on the money to get it to come out correctly.
Oh, you had to think it through.
Because of the way that traffic jam in the middle of it. So you're like, unfathomable.
I've always had a hard time pronouncing certain words. So I have a fear of like mispronouncing people's names. So I'm always like, you. I could go on and on about my isms, but anyway, it's not why we're here, but it's,
no, right? So why we're here.
It's Gen X isms, right? I guess.
But so if we don't discuss these, then we don't show other people that they exist, right? Because they're just going to corroborate. They're going to be like, oh yeah, no, that's exactly what happens, right? We think that nobody wants to hear what we have to say, but we're all listening. We have 2 ears. What are they for?
Oh, right? The stories I have from living in New York in my 20s to the celebrity stories of working in LA, like AI can't tell those stories. They're mine. I own them. I own the IP to these ridiculous moments in my life. And I can guarantee
lock, stock, and barrel.
I can guarantee people in their 20s have not seen what I've seen. And I'm proud of it. I'm proud I have these stories and I have these war wounds and that I got in trouble.
We're soup, man. You can't change it.
In New York at a job because I used a purple marker and it was the signature color of the CEO and I got in major trouble. Like that shit doesn't happen. Yeah. I'm not kidding. No one told me.
This guy.
No one told me it was
Mr.
her.
Purple.
No one told me her favorite color was purple. I saw it was in the supply closet and I took it and I wrote some notes. I'm 19 years old and everyone was like, oh, she is purple. And they weren't kidding. It wasn't like this was like a funny joke. People like literally were nervous for me.
Devil Wears Prada kind of shit.
100%.
That's funny to me though. Like it is because it's so nonsensical. What is wrong with a human that they need to hold other people accountable for using a fucking color pen?
Well, everyone's like, we don't even use pens at work, huh? Whatever. But but I'm not sitting here. I'm not sitting here to be like this bitter Gen Xer bashing different generations. I talk more like this because I think it's funny.
It is funny.
It's funny.
It's absolutely hysterical.
It's so funny that it keeps me like looking at things from a perspective of like, I would never go back. I would never go back to my 20s or 30s. I love my 40s. 50? Well, talk to me next year. But like, I love the knowledge I have, the experiences, the fact that we were like, I told my son, I go, I'm so sad for you that you can't just know what to do when you're bored. Like that it's like, that is all I knew. All my friends, we just made
bored was a fucking
privilege,
a way of life.
It was a privilege. It meant you had time to do stuff. No one realizes being bored is a privilege.
It is. And that moment in time, in my mind, should be used to look at the now. Not even consider anything else going on because, in all honesty, that doesn't exist. That's part of our mental illness. Tomorrow and yesterday, they're just a fucking figment of your imagination because you've always been in now. So if you find yourself bored, why not switch it over to grateful? Right? If you're out there right now and you find yourself with one of those blessed moments, shuck the mental illness and look at a fucking tree, your hand, whatever it is. Just realize that it's now. We'll be right back.
This episode is brought to you by Progressive Insurance. What if comparing car insurance rates was as easy as putting on your favorite podcast? With Progressive, it is. Just visit the Progressive website to quote with all the coverages you want. You'll see Progressive's direct rate, then their tool will provide options from other companies so you can compare. All you need to do is choose the rate and coverage you like. Quote today at Progressive.com to join the over 28 million drivers who trust Progressive. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates. Comparison rates not available in all states or situations. Prices vary based on how you buy.
So I have timers now that I put up.
Oh.
It's a whole thing. And this is we're already back, by the way. Everybody can just listen to me talk about what we have to do, right? But that's what's cool about the Tragedy Academy. It's baked into the name.
Well, it's being authentic.
It is.
I
think
I just did a whole podcast on how to come across like on a podcast with a media trainer, TV personality. And I made her like tear me apart while we were talking. You know what I mean? Like, how does my hair look? Like, but it was authentic. It was fun. It was part of the show.
It is. You have to have the ability to love yourself. Authenticity is just embracing who the hell you are, right? And giving it a voice, not putting up other things for other people to filter you through. Well, they might not like me if my eyebrows are looking like this, or they might not like me if I say y'all, or they might not like me if I wear green, or they might not like me if, I don't have this car, or I don't have this job, or I don't have this, when really all they're getting is that they might not like me. They're never even going to see you. They're literally just looking at a pile of I don't love myself and you going, love me, right? It doesn't even work. Like, we don't love things that don't love themselves. You have to have some love for yourself in order to show people you're lovable. At least that's how I feel about it. And I know that I walked around expecting everybody to see my pain and love me for who I am and not my problems and blah, 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 blah. But yet I was showing up every day as corporate guy, happy guy, sports guy, whatever the event was, I'm going to be the best at this event guy, right? But all I was looking to see is if somebody was going to compliment the tie I picked out.
Validation.
And they were doing the same. They were doing the same. And we had all that time to sit there and have a conversation. Right? Who are you? Where are you from? What makes you tick? Right? Not, look at your earrings. What do you think of mine?
Mm-hmm.
Right? Because even the compliment is loaded for a fucking return.
Mm. That's
it's
true.
always like, I'm going to tell you this looks good. And then I'm going to turn ever so slightly so you see this new shirt and you go, oh, I love that. Right? Dudes do it too. They do it in their own ways.
Mm-hmm.
Same shit, different peacocking, whatever. Right? It's just what humans do. But if you're a business or you're an entrepreneur or you're trying to get yourself out there and grow your dream, you can't do it with somebody else's mask on. You have to do you. 100% you, not AI. You. Tools are tools. If AI is your hammer, fuck yeah, hammer away with it. But don't let it be your art.
Ooh, I like that line. Don't let it be your art.
Never should be. The paintbrush doesn't get the fucking credit.
Wait, Chat GPT told me this line. Let AI do the heavy lifting. Let us do the thinking.
It's true.
It wrote that for me for my ad because I was curious what it would say.
It knows.
I mean, I'm literally putting that in an ad and giving them credit for it because that's funny.
Why not?
Why not? It's hilarious. I think it's hilarious.
Fuck, man. Do you know how hard it was for me to find a legitimate assistant that would stay on long term and be able to support in the manner that I needed with the amount of money that I had? That's a huge problem for a lot of people.
Yes.
Right? So you come to a business like yours and you get the wisdom and you use AI as your hammer. Right?
Yep.
That's the way I look at it.
Or validation. Like you just need someone to say, you know what? You created all those with AI. They're amazing and they're right on point. Go for it.
How great would that be?
Before you spend $2,000 on an ad campaign and literally just swallow all your savings, get a gut check. Or someone might say, you know what?
Beautiful.
Those ads you're running, I think you should change the copy on one of them. This might be stronger. I mean, it seems like a quick little, but what if, or you get an idea and you paid $300 for the hour and then you walk away with a whole new way of thinking or validation or I don't know, brainstorm, whatever. Like to me, that's the value that I would like to, that's my mission, my purpose.
Like having the ability to reach out to a trusted advisor when you have an idea is priceless, because there are more seeds that never see water or fertilizer than there ever will be the dreams that came true, right?
Oh, 100%.
All of those are just sitting there for the simple fact that there was not a catalyst, there was an accelerator, there wasn't a person or a mind that could recognize the gold in that moment and say, that's it. Go for it. Do it. Go this way, go that way, do what you want to do. But at least you have somebody not even telling you how to do it. Just the fact that somebody says, you got something.
Yeah, you got something here.
You got something.
Well,
you're not crazy.
Well, that's what I've been doing with Borderline, is that every time I interview someone, I ask for their feedback because they're experts. And they've been giving me like great validation. Validation is what I needed. Like, is this a good idea? They're like, this is a great idea. They're like, everyone's loving it. I'm thinking, will it make money? Well, is that the main?
Doesn't it suck?
But then I'm thinking,
I don't like having to do that part of the equation.
Does it have to really? I mean, yes, it does to keep itself running, but I feel like it's going to be its own self machine because I'm going to have all the consultants and advisors network with each other. So I want it to be a place where everybody gets to like grow their own business. It's a hub and everyone gets to help each other and we get to do things our way. Just my Mayday agency was built very different than a traditional agency. And it's too boring to go into, but I think it's the foundation of doing things differently.
I was thinking about it the other day about change. Because I always say, the only thing permanent in life is change, right? And it's true. It will always be changing, no matter what it is, right? But change is interesting in that you do have a choice. You can either be part of it or you can witness it. And witnesses only get popcorn. They don't get the dreams. They don't get the outcome. They don't get the next party. They don't get the next step. They just sit and wallow and cry rather than moving forward with life.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Change is very important. And it's always best to just embrace it in your own way. You don't have to agree with it. But if you're not part of it, then you don't get to influence where anything goes. And that's a shame. Like, I don't want to be drugged behind a fucking car. I'd much rather be fighting for the steering wheel. That's a good one, too.
That's good.
I'm on fire today.
Write that shit down.
I do. Actually, I have a metaphor list.
Oh, I like that. I want access to this. Because I've been doing quotes on Instagram, like inspiring quotes. I want to quote you for
I love quotes and I love metaphors. Metaphors are great for bridging societal divides and communication gaps and misunderstandings or educational gatekeeping. Metaphors allow you to open minds in ways that they wouldn't have without having that garden to grow in that juxtaposition of what you've explained. It's fucking amazing. And the more that you can do that, the more windows it opens in people's minds and their eyes, their mind's eye. Like, oh shit, you're right. What would have taken an entire course, you can give somebody a realization.
For full details, including terms and conditions, visit unlock.com/legal. Call 1-888-780-6854 to speak with a representative today. Actor portrayal. Terms and conditions apply.
Lisa, thanks for having me over. Your new kitchen is gorgeous. How'd you find the money to do it?
We worked with this great company, Unlock. They help you unlock the future value of your home to get the cash you need today.
So it's a home equity loan?
No, it's not a loan at all. There's no monthly payments and no interest charges ever. And you can use the money however you want. We were able to redo our kitchen and pay off our credit card debt.
Wow, Jack and I could really use this to finally pay off our old student loan debt. How do I get started?
It's easy. Just give him a call or go to unlock.com.
Call 1-888-780-6854 to unlock the value in your home and get up to $500,000 in cash with no monthly payments and no interest ever. Use the money for home improvements, to pay off debt, or to add to your retirement fund. It's up to you. Visit unlock.com. That's unlock.com or call 1-888-780-6854 now to get started.
We're back. Julie, You've had the opportunity to yell at your computer, punch the sky for a little while, and now you're back. How about you tell us where everybody can find you?
If you're looking to hire an advisor or curate your own board of advisors, from digital marketing to, finance help, raising capital, you go to theborderline.co, and it's borderline like a board of advisors, BOARDLINE.
I did like that, and I like you explained that. The BOARD.
Yeah, because you can have your own board. Everyone deserves their own board of advisors.
Everybody needs their own board of advisors. Our mind is designed to lie, to protect us.
Do you know how hard it is to get a board of advisors if you're making like $1 million a year? Who's going to want to take equity of your company and be a board advisor?
Geez, that was $1 million.
Yeah, get paid to talk. Get paid to tell your stories.
And they deserve to support themselves too.
Totally.
There's something that they're
I'm
bringing
going to go out on a limb here and say
for those of you that are naysayers
right
out there about taking money for advice, well, if you're really good at fucking giving advice, shouldn't that be what you get paid to do?
Of course. We were all told.
Well, I'm all for getting
follow the
paid
rules.
to talk.
Shut up. Don't say anything. Don't question anything.
But I was told not to talk as a kid. Right? Talk too much. But here I am, Mom. No, take that. Now, Julie, I can't thank you enough for coming on. And I want to thank you for being a lighthouse. I say this all the time to everybody. But being a lighthouse is being the best self that you can be and showing others a way by doing that, giving them license to be themselves and be able to conquer their dreams or live their purpose. You are a gateway for people to achieve their biggest aspirations, and to set yourself as somebody there to allow them to focus their lenses in the beginning is something that I cannot commend you enough for. So please continue to be you. Continue to stand up there and represent those people that won't have the dad with $1 million that could tell them how to operate a business before they do. Right? Give them a chance. And I appreciate you for that. And again, if you have any questions, reach out to Julie and her team. And remember, everybody, be cool and keep learning.